Okay, so week 5 just passed, and I'm so disappointed with so many teams out there. I've finally hit a breaking point. Why? Oh, for fuck's sake, why did I make the conscious decision to sit down on my fat ass for 2 hours and watch the Bears play the Commanders? Why did I do that? Look, this game was so much worse than I thought it was going to be, but instead of the Bears checking in for their weekly bussy rearrangement session, they actually flipped the script around and destroyed Washington because we're still not allowed to have a fun Thursday evening. I still don't know how this happened. Washington's offense got out-schemed by Matt Eberflus, getting overwhelmed by blitzes, while the Bears finally decided to let DJ Moore do things. And even with this slaughtering, I still didn't even turn the game off until it was officially over, because, hey, with the Bears, anything's possible. But everything that could have gone wrong for the Commanders basically did. And the one silver lining is it can't get worse than a loss to the Bears, and maybe we'll never have to see a game like this for the rest of the season. Do I dare check to see who we got playing next Thursday? Alright, yeah, I'll do it. Oh, you have got to be Well. I'm not saying the Bills' jet lag did or didn't play a factor, but the whole first half, Bills.exe was not working properly whatsoever. And I don't know if it was because the game was in London, but the entire game just felt a little off. Both defenses had their moments, and the game was just slow for a majority of it. Still though, when it mattered most, T-Law, Etienne, and the Riddler made winning plays, and this 2-game London winning streak really changed the narrative about this Jags team quickly. But for the old blue and red, I'm sorry. I tried to protest it, but when the patch notes for 10.8.23 were released, our worst fears were confirmed when we got the second huge Bills nerf in a row, with an injury to Daquan Jones and, of course, a probable season-ending injury to Matt Milano, ascending from the kick in the balls with the Tre'Davious White injury to just straight up lighting the Bills on fire. Buffalo succumbing to the plague aside, this game was just so uninspiring from them. I was pretty eager to see what Kaiir Elam could do without Tre'Davious White after, he was a healthy scratch the whole season, and my God, it was impressive how bad he was out there. Can you imagine if the Chiefs didn't trade up in front of the Bills to grab Trent McDuffie in the 2022 draft? Things would have been so much different, but that timeline doesn't exist, and in reality, the Bills just got grinded out by the Jaguars' run game, and the 11 penalties they committed in this game didn't exactly help them either. I really hate to switch up on you this early, Buffalo. It pains my heart, but someone somewhere just really hates to see you healthy. And if you keep on piling up injuries like this, just like last year, at some point, you're just not going to be able to compete with the top teams in the AFC anymore.
I literally want to die.
By golly, they've done it again. At this point, you just got to respect the commitment. The sheer dedication to the suck for New York. It's the same formula. Besides Tibbs playing well again, shockingly, Waller logged his usual few costly drops a game, Daniel Jones made bad decisions and got eaten skin from bone by the defense, and Evan Neal continues to put up prime Alex Leatherwood numbers, while he seems more interested in friendly fire than blocking his own man. What's the point anymore? What's the point of talking about the Giants if they're not going to put in the effort on the field to be talked about? To sum up the game, Miami does actually have some mistakes to clean up, but did you know that the Dolphins are fast? Like, I would say decently fast, and the Giants' DBs aren't, so, the game didn't go well. So, on paper, and for me personally from the eye test, I would say this was Bryce Young's best game as a pro. Yes, obviously his stats are beyond inflated from the whole second half being garbage time, but he played well in that time. Now, with that being said though, the scariest part about that statement is the man is still just committing to some baffling decisions that don't look like they're being improved upon at all. Once again though, he did play well in garbage time, so I guess anything to get his confidence up, and he continues to just not get any help outside of Thielen. I mean, dude, that 4-year, $25 million contract for Miles Sanders is just getting stinkier by the hour. For sake, the dude averaged a monstrous 21.5 yards in weeks 3 through 4 and dropped a nice 32 whopper versus Detroit. And you can only blame so much on the O-line when Chuba Hubbard is putting up the same stats as Sanders. The Panthers are still a walking train wreck, but on the complete opposite side of the NFL spectrum, the Lions, somehow just keep defying the basic rules of science, no matter how many injuries they sustain. That's still nowhere near enough to regulate Dan Campbell's testosterone levels, and he just has these boys ballin'. The defense has been lights out most of the time, and Jared Goff in 2023 is looking like a near MVP candidate. But if you're winning games, that doesn't mean you're exempt from the patch notes this week, as after finally getting to see Emmanuel Mosley on the field, a very key signing from the offseason, after all that hype, he came onto the field and just shattered his leg. So I don't know how many more injuries it's going to take for Detroit's ship to sink, but I mean, at some point, there's got to be a breaking point, right?
Yep.
Well, I said it last week. This game will tell us all we need to know for the rest of the season about these two miserable teams. And wow! The New England Patriots, the most feared and well-coached team of the last 20-plus years in maybe any sport, have been outscored 72-3 over the last two games. I don't even need to repeat myself. Just let that sink in. The Saints aren't even good, and they just massacred New England to the point where, I don't know, I just kind of felt some sadness. It just feels so wrong to watch the Patriots, still coached by Bill Belichick, just get gutted for 2 weeks in a row. And the injuries were obviously still a factor in this game, but that doesn't even remotely excuse the lack of soul this team showed. And that's just the defensive side of the ball, because on offense, I'm not sure I've ever seen a quarterback with less confidence than Mac Jones right now. He started the year off as strong as he could have, and it's just been all downhill after that Dolphins game. For what it's worth, though, a lot of it isn't Mac's fault. Yes, he's been making some truly terrible reads, and he's far from blameless, but come on, cut the man some slack. So many people are just pushing the narrative that Belichick is nothing without Thomas, and hey, don't get me wrong, I love my man, but people need to chill out with that narrative. If you put Tom Brady on this team, not much would change. There's no talent on the defense anymore with all the injuries, and I'm not sure he would do too well with Kendrick Bourne as his wide receiver one. So in conclusion, your season's over. That's it. So welcome to the Caleb Williams sweepstakes, New England. Get in line, and even if you win, there's probably a good chance he won't even play for you. But what I know is that Mac Jones just ain't it. So, Bill, for 1 year, just give in. Just do it. Trust me. Embrace the tank. It'll be worth it. I can't believe it. I don't understand. How? How did they do it? How did the Pittsburgh Steelers win this football game? Man, this game really just made me appreciate how much I miss it when the Ravens would do this. They have just perfected and are continuing to update the model on how to lose a game that you just have no business in blowing away. And they did it twice. This is the second time this year already, but this one was immeasurably worse. But as stale as the Ravens offense was, I gotta give credit where credit's due, because going into this game, admittedly Mike Tomlin's game plan was flawless, and it revolved around one style of play. Confusion. All they had to do was play like for the entire game, outside of a few singular plays, and instead of playing lockdown coverage, just watch as the Ravens receivers drop every single goddamn pass thrown their way. Oh, you have to catch that, Rashad. I know Lamar was pretty bad, but like, me, the Ravens probably dropped like 200 yards of passing yards alone, and to wrap up this cake and put a toxic candle on it, with the game in the bag, the Ravens got a safety, threw a fade to Odell's husk, and then allowed young boy to break away with Marlowe getting his ass sautéed to call game. And that's not even mentioning some very questionable play calls and seemingly not trusting Justin Tucker anymore. But with that, the Ravens are 3-2. This is so disappointing. They should easily be 5-0, but they're not. Instead, the Pittsburgh Steelers, a team that is, statistically speaking, one of the worst in the league, and from the eye test, are also one of the worst in the league. And they are leading the division with a 3-2 record. I still can't wrap my 7.5 brain cells around the fact that the Ravens found a way to lose this game. What universe are we living in where Kyle Pitts looks like an elite tight end and Desmond Ridder thoroughly outplayed one of the best rookie quarterbacks we've ever seen? Look, I don't know who Desmond Ridder's body double was out there on Sunday, but wow, that dude can throw a football. Finally, they heard our complaints and started to actually use their insanely talented weapons like Mac Hollins. But even with all of the success in the passing game, it still comes with a huge mound of sodium, because Ridder did still make a few mistakes, and honestly, I think this game cements it. If he wasn't getting benched last week, then he's not going to get benched for the entire year, so enjoy your starting quarterback for the rest of the year, and some very, very inconsistent play at best. As for Houston, there's still just not too much to be upset about. Yes, the offense stalled out on you often, and they're being forced into way too many field goals, but it's all part of the learning process. And if you lose the game to Atlanta because Desmond Ridder drops 330 yards on you, then hey, I'd be fine with that.
I was born with glass bones and paper skin.
This is my fault, isn't it? I swear, I was joking when I called Anthony Richardson like a thick RG3 clone or something like that, but I'm not joking anymore. This man is simply the unluckiest player in the league, or his bones just don't function properly. Still though, who needs Richardson and Taylor when you have Gardner Minshew and Zach Moss? And apparently that was all the gunpowder they needed to beat the Titans, who just pissed away a great D-Hop game and a solid Tannehill one as well. This was a matchup where the Titans really should have won, but it seems like with Henry starting to need a life alert soon, this team has nobody in the squad that can make a big play to swing the momentum outside of D-Hop sometimes. And if somehow that consistent mystical man does exist, it surely isn't in the DB room, because Christian Fulton just sucks. And obviously what you do after you get called out by your coach and charred on the field is you gotta go to the media and just blame the refs, right? Because of course it's not your fault. And we're getting to that point where if the Titans lose like 2 more games like this where they just look so unmotivated out there, you might as well just punt the season away. But I guess I do have to give one compliment out there. You guys are putting in a very good effort in becoming my least favorite team to watch this season. It's rough out there in Tennessee. It really is. Finally, I guess all it took was to play the Arizona Cardinals to instantly revive Joe Burrow and the Bengals from the dead, because the man looked like vintage Joe, at least more times than not, and it turns out Jamar Chase is still good at football. Now with that, trust me when I say I want nothing more than to give all the credit in the world to the Bengals and say they'll finally turn it around and become contenders, but come on, let's be rational about this. It's one game. It was versus the Arizona Cardinals, too, and they got the Seahawks and 49ers as their next 2 opponents, so if they want to at least earn my trust, then if they beat Seattle and at least scratch the 49ers, then we'll talk. Yeah, and honestly, not too much to say. Maybe the Bengals are back, and Jamar Chase he's just not fair. That is all. Oh, god damn it, these teams suck. The Nathaniel Hackett revenge game absolutely did not live up to any expectations whatsoever. I mean, one side of it felt like as if the Jets are continuing to just cradle Zach Wilson. It's like they're saying, Zach, just don't ruin this game. Please, just don't mess up. And they only let the man hand the ball off to Breece Hall and throw slant routes. And maybe that's the right choice, but I don't know, at least let the man throw the ball some more times and give him some more creativity. And on the other side of the grass, the head chef was serving up fresh asbestos. I mean, the dude's leading receiver was Samaje Perine. His receivers are garbage, and Russ ain't doing too much with it either. I mean, having 70 passing yards around the 3rd quarter mark just is not going to cut it at all. The Jets defense is still good. Quincy Williams had a day. Breece Hall is a monster off his snap count. But I could keep going on and on. I could just roast the Broncos for hours and hours and hours, but I've run out of energy. I'll let other people do that because it's gotten to the point where I just don't care anymore. This team isn't worth talking about.
I hate my life.
I fully believe this game was going to go one of 2 ways. Either with Kupp coming back, the Rams were going to be able to match the Eagles' offensive output if their O-line was able to take advantage of no Fletcher Cox, or none of that even matters because this guy's pretty good, these guys are pretty good, and this guy's a demon. And the Eagles chose option number 2, and both sides of the ball for Philly played a great football game, looking seemed dominant from the first drive on. And along with the 49ers, the Eagles just continue to rack up win after win on their eventual, almost seemingly inevitable NFC Championship rematch, barring any massive injuries. And the Rams shouldn't even be that pissed off either. They simply just lost to the better team in their first game back to full strength in the receiving corps, and I just have to say, I'll never get over how funny it is that the Rams and Chargers simply just don't have home games. Well, they're back at it again. They rested for 2 weeks. Just 2 weeks. And they're back. The Minnesota Vikings are back to their old ways, and they just blew every single opportunity given to them to win this game. The Chiefs played well enough to get the win, and impressively, someone finally shut down Justin Jefferson, but Minnesota fumbled on the first play, burned all their timeouts in the second half way too early, had a multitude of drops with Alexander Madison just throwing a touchdown in the You have to catch that! And to polish this masterpiece off, you seemingly got a PI call to get you some life, but it was picked up. And the refs also decided to not call this taking off of the helmet penalty for reasons, and then also didn't call this blatant face mask for reasons. But wait, there's more. Cause you don't even get to have the thrill of watching a Hail Mary get lobbed into the air, and because why the hell not, let's just throw in a Justin Jefferson injury to knock him out for the next 4 games at least. I mean, can we just get a round of applause for the Vikings? That was well played. And honestly, the funniest part about this team is I wouldn't even be surprised if they just turned around and won like 10 games in a row. Every game they have is going to be one possession, so anything's possible, but you know, that also probably just won't happen, because no one can ever predict the way of the Minnesota Vikings. I knew this was going to happen. I don't know why, but Dak Prescott simply cannot play against the 49ers. Just watching his body language out there, the man looks terrified. And I would say it's just a 49ers defensive thing, but Josh Dobbs looked 1,000 times more comfortable over the course of the game. So I don't even want to try and speculate what's going on with Dak's psyche. I mean, what a disaster for Dallas. In every facet of the word. The 49ers left the door wide open for the Cowboys offense early on to do something, and they simply didn't. And outside of 1 or 2 plays early, the Cowboys' big play defense also did almost nothing, letting the 49ers assert their game plan of either HB dive, HB toss, a slant from Ayuk, or just throw it to the guy who Dallas decides not to cover. If the Cardinals game didn't prove it, then this game definitely did. It's still the same old Cowboys. This team is the same one as always, so enjoy your wild card appearance and playoff exit, because at least this time it'll be fully expected by everyone. This game was just so tough to watch. It really, really was. Both teams on the defensive side of the ball were on to like their 5th string practice squad players, and somehow the offenses were the most unwatchable part of this game. I didn't think the Raiders were ever going to be able to even try to collapse this year, because that would mean holding a lead in the first place, but Jordan Love did a good job of making that happen, diming up Robert Spillane and letting the Raiders get 3 interceptions. The Raiders! Dude, we haven't gotten 3 interceptions in a season in what feels like 6 years, and we just got 3 in a game. Other than the injured and young Packers just looking injured and young, the Raiders won this game because Josh McDaniels is just on a higher level of football intellect, as per usual. And thank God we won the game by 4 points and not by 1. That was massive for our point differential. And as the game dragged on, Vegas' overwhelming talent was simply just too much, with Max Crosby continuing to be the only man who doesn't just give up on the play instantly. Overall, it's simply one of the most average Raider games I've ever watched. Even when we doinked the field goal, I just said aloud, yeah, that sounds about right. This was a game that we probably should have lost to almost any other team in the league. But no, Packers just had to sabotage our tank. But wait, before we go, it's time for the Week 5 TubFrog polls. You can vote on in the Discord. It's in the link below, so join there if you want to be in on this voting process. And the best play from Week 5, according to you guys, was Aiden Hutchinson's one-handed interception. The best game from Week 2, shockingly to me at least, was the Eagles vs. Rams. The best standout player from Week 5 was obviously Jamar Chase. The worst team performance was the New England Patriots, almost for the second week in a row. And the worst individual performance in Week 5 was by Dakota Prescott. And your favorite type of shellfish was, the majority of the votes went to lobster, so that's good to know. Anyways, if you like this video, then subscribe, because I got a lot of videos on the channel just like this one. And if you like this video, then may I recommend this video right here that I just did on the Chargers' entire franchise's history with misery. It's pretty good, trust me. Anyways, until next time.